afternoon, Stitch Roadies. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm glad you're here. I want to catch you up on everything I've been doing and what led from Christmas through to the new year. I am just getting over one of those colds that your grandchildren give you. Yeah, they love you so much. But because I have asthma, I have a reactive airway, so sometimes I'll start coughing, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to go ahead and try to get through a floss tube, because I've missed you guys. I've missed you guys. But we had a very nice Christmas. Christmas Day actually was really quiet, but we went over to our younger son's house, and my daughter-in-law had her family over, and it was just wonderful to see everybody. Then we took Christmas down, and I'm here to tell you, I don't know about you, but it seems like every year it gets harder and harder. And I told G, I said, I think next year we should just vacation in December and not put Christmas up. I know. He did not think I'd be able to pull that off. But it does get hard to take it all down, doesn't it? And get it all put away. But I cannot start the new year with Christmas decorations still up. And I know that some people take it all the way into like January 12th, but that's not me. I have to have it, I have to start the new year fresh, you know, the new year fresh. And so we worked on that. And then New Year's, Happy New Year again. New Year's is big in the Korean culture, and so I'm used to certain foods on New Year's, and we had a nice dinner in which I made japchae, tteokbokki, and tteokguk soup. Those are all Korean dishes, and so I made those for dinner. And my daughter-in-law's mother came over, and we enjoyed a family dinner together. It was, it's a great way to start. In the old, not the old days, but when I was younger, or when my children were younger, the tradition is that the elders sit on a couch and the grandchildren bow, and they bow down in front of their grandparents as a way of respect and thankfulness, and they put their forehead on the floor and wish them good health and long life. And then the grandparents give them a little, this is the way it was in our family, a little red envelope with a little money in it. And we didn't do that with our children, but I know a lot of my cousins were doing that with their children, and it's so fun to see. Traditions are important. Traditions are important. And so I think that making those dishes on New Year's Day just makes me feel better. It makes me remember my own childhood. So we had a nice dinner. I received a couple Christmas gifts or New Year's gifts, but this was from my, I don't know if I showed you this or not, but this was from my friend Sandy. We are both crow people, and she sent this bag, and I just love that crow. And, you know, it makes me want to cut this bag up and maybe make a project, an official project bag out of it, or a pillow. But it's gorgeous. Thank you, Sandy. And then something I ordered a few months ago that it became a present from G. Came just in time for Christmas. And it is amazing. And my hopes is that I will be able to use it with some Q snaps. So it'll be interesting, because I can't hold Q snaps. They're too wide and my hands get cramped. But this came in the most amazing box and packed unbelievably. So if you're hesitant to order from the Ukraine Patoki stands, cross-stitch stands, know that he does not charge your card when you order it until it's being shipped. So I was on a list of maybe a couple months, a little over a couple months worth, and so he emailed me when it was being shipped, and that's when my card got charged. But it came in this fantastic box, wrapped in this flannel bag. I mean, it has its own bag, and the workmanship is unbelievable. But here it is. And so it's like a tabletop stand, or if you got a in your lap. But I'm hoping that if not Q-snaps, hoops will fit in there. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous piece of furniture, basically. So that was my present from G, along with, a gift card to Acorns and Threads. Yeah. I decided 2024 was going to be an amazing year. I think I decide that every year. But I choose a word and a color. I'm still struggling with the color because I am kind of still wanting to stick with blue, although blue is not my favorite color, but I guess no one's the boss of me, and I could keep blue for a second year. I don't know. I just am struggling with it a bit. But my word for the year, I actually posted on New Year's Day on Instagram and Facebook, what is your word for 2024? And people just responded by putting their word down. And I saw my word in there that I had already chosen. And so my word for 2024 is contentment. And the reason I chose that word is for a variety of reasons. But the main, it seems like I'm a somewhat anxious. When I've lived in a house for a certain number of years, I start thinking about when I'm going to move again. And G absolutely loves it here. And I do too. Did you hear that lilt, that question mark? That's because I moved so much as a child. I moved. And so I find that after a certain number of years, I start thinking about, and each move that I make teaches me something, or I learn the pros and cons of where I'm at. And so I keep trying to tweak it as I go along. But the reality is, I struggle with contentment. My mind is busy, and therefore I make my life busy. But I would like 2024 to be one of contentment. That means that I will love what I have. I will love where I'm at. I will do that which brings more peace. And so I chose that word for 2024. All of the words that people listed are amazing. The most powerful word in the list that I had read so far of what people were choosing was forgiveness. Someone is choosing forgiveness in 2024. That's a game changer word. And I commend the strength of that decision. So it's not like choosing a word is going to change your whole life. No, but it's like a place to tap into when you're struggling about something. Sometimes you remember what your word means to you. So this year, contentment. I already feel a little contented. Yeah, which is good because I had to buy a new dry erase board because the little one wasn't big enough for all my whips. So when I put the dry erase board up, I listed all my whips. I got rid of a couple of whips. I realized that I wasn't feeling the love, and so I rehomed them. We are, with the Mountain Stitchers, doing a whip exchange this weekend, which is going to be awesome. Of course, I'm going to end up with someone else's whip, but that's okay. That's okay. It's part of the progress. So I have 33 whips. I am not going to do a whole whip parade thing. No. Just know when I say I have 33 whips, and I'm okay with them because I love the ones that I have. I already have a finish for 2024. Yeah. And that is the Collector's Heart 2023. First finish of the year. I just love this. So we're already off and running. I never have done the Book of Days, but this year I am. And the way I have it set up is that I'm doing a little checkbox thing there because every month I want to have touched something in these 4 categories. So the first one is my heartstring samplery. Once a month, the Mountain Stitchers, which was started by Beth Twist, of a heartstring samplery for stitchers on this side of the river, but some come from the other side of the river. All are welcomed. I decided, because I am a big fan of heartstring samplery and that I have several projects, that at Mountain Stitchers I will be stitching a heartstring samplery project. And so the one that I'm working on right now is What a Time to Be Alive. And my colorway is exactly the same. So here we go. So I'll be stitching on that, and then once I get this done, then it'll be another heartstring samplery project. I want to stitch on a Christmas ornament every month. I don't want to suddenly in July have to decide about Christmas, and I don't want to in November go, oh my gosh, it's Christmas. And because I am a Halloween fan, I want to stitch on a Halloween something and a Christmas something. So that's why I put those 4 checkbox. And as you can see, I have a star. Wherever I get something finished, I put a star. And so the 2023 Collector's Heart is got a star. Let's see. I'm just looking at, I actually took some notes so I wouldn't forget anything. In another week, a little over a week, I'm going to Sampler Symposium, and so I'm taking 2 projects along with me for that. And one is in my project bag that was gifted to me by Janine for my birthday. out of a towel. I just love it. Yep, and this bag was Crafty Cory Stitches. Now, I don't have a big sampler repertoire, cross-stitch repertoire, but this to me kind of looks sampler-ish, and it's by Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch or Crash Test Dummies, and I was her Wife of the Month last year. I taking this to stitch, and it is already got the border all the way around, so there we go. And this fabric is amazing. It is Cedar River Tephra 36 count, and that's Trixie Tricycle. I'm just I love this fabric. So that project is going with me to Sampler Symposium. And also, what is going with me is my airplane stitch. And you say, airplane stitch? Yes, I decided that I needed a project that was where I didn't have to count. It was just fill in. And so here's this awesome bag. I just love this little tag there. But in this bag is my airplane stitch. Now, my tool bag that's in my bag was from Judy, Judy from Texas, who gave me this beautiful little bag that was probably originally meant to be a makeup bag. But I thought this is perfect to put the tools in. And then my girlfriend Colleen, she gave me a brooch that she found in an antique store with my name on it. Now, my dad and my brother-in-law are the only two people that call me Annie, but it always makes me feel warm and fuzzy. So this brooch had Annie written on it. And then in this bag is scissors, a little fob, and then my little box that has needles and a band-aid and a needle minder. So this little pouch is going in this bag here. So I'm all set for Sampler Symposium. And I know that we set up, a lot of us set up all these kind of rules. To me, 2024 is not going to have any rules. So there's no rule that says you can't do this until you have that done. You can't do starts. One start means one finish, or one finish means one start. I have no rules. I'm going to be contented in whatever I do. And I'm looking for it to be a joyful year. Yeah. So in that thought process, I thought it would be great if I was a little bit organized. And the way I decided to start organizing was to, I always had my floss on these big metal rings, and most of my fancy floss was gifted to me. And I might have told you this story before, but there's an addendum to the story that's very, very interesting. So a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, longer than that, a friend and I went on a cruise, a quilting cruise, and there were other people on the cruise that we knew, and a whole bunch of people we didn't know that we met. And one of them was the sister of another quilter on the other side of the mountain. And she, back in the day, used to own a cross-stitch shop out in eastern Oregon. And when she retired and closed the shop, she had a lot of floss left. Plus, she was an avid cross-stitcher. She passed away. And it's really hard when a sister or a sibling passes away. So her sister had asked me to give a talk at some needlework group that she belonged to. And as a thank you, she gave me all this floss from her sister's stash. And it was amazing. I mean, it was way before I was intensely into cross-stitch, but I was doing it, and I knew that this fancy floss was amazing. And she had some finished cross-stitch that I purchased and had framed, and it's hanging in my bedroom, and they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. But this floss was all in wads. I know this is kind of like a long story, but the floss was all on this wad. And I thought, I am going to, in 2024, impress myself by getting organized. And so I decided how I was going to organize the floss. And so I bought some metal pegboard, and G hung it up for me in my closet. Yes, in my closet. And I bought some hooks, and I have been organizing that floss alphabetically on these hooks. And initially what I started was this bag, this plastic bag of silks, Floss silks. Now, one of the goals I have for 2024 is actually to not have to use the called for floss, but maybe step outside of the box and actually choose a color I like. Maybe that's a possibility. But I can't when the floss is in a giant bag, a plastic bag. So I've been organizing it on these hooks. And I started with this big sack of Floss silks. And as I was organizing it, my phone rang 3 times on a Facebook video thing. And before I could answer it each time, it hung up. But it was the sister who gifted me the floss, who I haven't talked to in 5 years. I mean, that was a while ago. I lived on the other side of the mountain. And I thought, that is so strange that I would be organizing the floss that was gifted to me from her sister who had passed, and that she would end up ringing me on the phone. And so then I got a text message that said that she accidentally dialed my number and was trying to reach her son. And so I texted her back. I said, that's so weird, because I was just organizing Kathy's floss. I mean, that is really, really, wow. is all I can say. And so I took it that I need to be, I need to embrace this organization of this floss. So I have been having fun, but it does take, I mean, I do it 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time. My whole closet is a disaster because there's floss all over the floor. Because I sit there in the chair and I organize as many as I can, and then when I lose interest, I go on to something else. But no, I am going to really, what I have hung already is awesome. And I think whatever method you use to organize your floss, if it works for your brain, then that's the way you should do it. That's the way you should do it. So I am going to very much be enjoying that organization. Let's see. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about hashtags. I am still working on the hashtag finish a prairie schooler, start a prairie schooler. I haven't finished a prairie schooler in a bit, but that's still a hashtag that I'm going to do. And the hashtag that really warms my heart is the hashtag love your stitch Sal. And that is one where you can just hashtag anything you're stitching on, because I'm here to tell you, sometimes it feels pressure when you have, you're doing a Sal and it's not a stitch along, it's not a start along, it's, you just love it. So hashtag love my stitch Sal, and then hashtag kid along cross stitch. And that hashtag, I'm looking at the enabling aspect of it. So hashtag KAL cross stitch. That means if you kit something up, take a picture of it. Maybe it's something I want to kit up too. Yeah, you know, there is. I've heard that that's my superpower. So I will be using those three. This last week, when I was trying to wrap up my the finish that I just got done with, I was watching FlossTube and I nearly had to have a drink. I nearly had to have a drink because I was watching Aaron, the 2 Martini Stitcher, and I don't know what to say. But, you know, I look at Aaron as my peer, my cross-stitching peer. I mean, I first met her at Acorns and Threads, and I've always had a good laugh with her. But when she was talking on her latest FlossTube about her plans, she's doing a whip parade, and her plans for this year, and then in 2025 it's a big birthday and she's going to start 100 projects. I almost thought I needed a gummy at that point, I have to tell you. Although the gummies I have in my house are just made out of fruit, and I don't think they do anything. But the shocking part of it all was that I realized that I could be her mother. Yeah, I could be her mother. I mean, she's young. So the whole concept of starting all those things almost gave me a heart palpitation, I have to say. More power to her, though. You've got to watch her. She gets a lot done. She gets a lot done. So I think that's my New Year's. That's my New Year's. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking towards organizing. I'm looking for a year of contentment. And I am going to not worry about starts. If I want to start something, I'm going to start something. But my whole goal in this first month of 2024 is to get my floss organized. And I have to do it in fits and starts because it's a lot of organizing. So thank you for hanging in there. I hope we our paths cross either at Acorns and Threads or at a workshop someplace. Yeah, let's keep stitching. Let's keep stitching. Love you guys. Take care and Happy New Year.